Whole Foods Market has the satisfying lunch you're looking for. Level up lunch boxes with Wallet Happy 365 by Whole Foods Market snacks, like organic vanilla animal cookies, organic string cheese, and more. Hey, you have to eat too. Hit the prepared foods department and try the spicy red pepper salmon, or treat yourself to pizza from the hot bar. Either way, remember to bring home a rosemary lemon chicken family meal for an easy dinner that hits the spot. Shake things up at Whole Foods Market.
Fashion has always been a great way to make a statement, from showing conformity, like in the military, or individuality, like streetwear. Clothes are an important part of nonverbal communication. The common saying, beauty is pain, may make you think of uncomfortable shoes or an itchy sweater, but the truth is much more serious.
So we've been using toxic chemicals in our fashion products for hundreds of years. Everybody's heard of the Mad Hatter. That's because hatters used mercury to make men's hats. And I mean, a lot of mercury, like 1% weight of the hat when they were tested recently, which is crazy. And then chemists invented a new color green that was based on arsenic. So people were wearing ball gowns and wreaths with green arsenic pigment. One young woman who was making these wreaths actually ended up dying from arsenic poisoning.
That's Alden Wicker, award winning journalist and author of To Die For: How Toxic Fashion is Making Us Sick. After using mercury and arsenic, chemists created fossil fuel dyes using coal tar. Wicker says this invention propelled us into a new world of chemistry, leading to the creation of contact poisons.
There was shoe blacking that would poison people within a few hours when they put it on their shoes and then went out dancing in them. We've been doing this for quite some time, and people would have reactions to their fancy striped socks where they'd get stripy pustules across their ankles.
And our fashion today isn't much better. Various studies, including a 2022 paper published in PLOS ONE, have found toxic heavy metals in our fabrics. These include lead and cancer-causing metals, such as cadmium and chromium. Wicker says BPA, which is classified as an endocrine-disrupting chemical that interferes with our hormones, is also commonly found in workout gear, like sports bras and polyester spandex socks.
We want to think that we've learned our lesson, but a lot of these things have been voluntarily phased out. And when things are being made in countries with really lax regulations, it's actually not illegal to put these things on clothing and sell it to adult consumers in the United States.
The American Apparel and Footwear Association reports that more than 97% of apparel sold in the U.S. is made overseas. But why would brands want to sell products that include harmful chemicals that hurt their consumers?
These brands don't own their factories. So they contract out to these dye houses, some of which I actually visited in India and saw how they work. And even these dye houses aren't entirely sure what's in these jugs of chemicals and finishes and dyes that they're buying. So it's just a very sloppy process.
And when the clothes get shipped to America, the harsh chemicals don't magically disappear. In 2019, Delta Airline employees sued the clothing company Land's End, stating that the new uniforms were causing health issues.
Their hair is completely fallen out. They've developed rashes so bad that they bled. They would be pulled off the plane because they were in such distress and taken to the ER with breathing problems. They had brain fog, extreme fatigue. I mean, they essentially, some of them became disabled. They just couldn't even get on the plane and be around the uniforms. So in some cases, they were unable to work.
For some flight attendants, the reactions happened as soon as they put on the new uniforms. For others, it took time before they were able to make the connection between their health issues and the garments.
The airline attendants, they figured out it was that because they all got their uniforms at the same time. You know, they wear them every single day for up to 12 hours a day, and they talk to each other. But you and I, if we have toxic clothing and it's causing a reaction, it might take us a really long time to figure out. We might do everything else, right? We switch out our personal care products and our cleaning products and our food. And then finally, we might say, okay, there's only one thing left. It's the fashion.
Which makes it hard for many of us to realize that our clothes may be causing a cough, a rash, or respiratory issues.
Our closets are filled with 100 different things that we wear all the time. And sometimes, like I said, it can take 2 or 3 days for a reaction to show up to clothing that you've put on your body. So some people, they end up going to the dermatologist, they get an allergy test, and some chemicals that are in fashion do come up as causing them an allergic reaction.
In researching her book, Wicker discovered that having constant contact with clothes that cause allergic reactions can spiral your health problems. If you don't make a change, the reactions can evolve into chronic inflammation and increase your risk for autoimmune disorders.
One of the researchers, she calls it tilt. Claudia S. Miller calls it tilt, toxicant-induced loss of tolerance. So if you are bombarded by chemicals, your body, when it encounters just a tiny bit of that chemical moving forward, will kind of overreact, and you'll have all sorts of reactions, brain fog and hives and everything. So just a tiny bit of the chemical. And from then on, you're kind of gaslit and told like, well, you're just too sensitive, but really, something happened to you.
A 2021 paper published in Environmental Sciences Europe shows that up to 36% of Americans report having chemical intolerance. The condition occurs after repeated low-level exposures to a substance or from just one major exposure.
This isn't rare. This is incredibly common. And if it's not affecting you or I, it's affecting somebody that everybody loves. So it definitely deserves more attention.
Wicker says some fashion brands have taken action against using these chemicals in their apparel. Companies will test their products and give suppliers a list of chemicals that they've banned from their clothing. However, this takes a lot of time, effort, and money that many other companies aren't willing to spend unless they have to.
People know that somebody's getting hurt down the supply chain, but it's hard to convince somebody to spend more on a piece of fashion to help somebody that they've never met, they never will meet, and maybe they don't trust that if they spend more, it's actually going to go to the farmer or the garment worker. This book was my attempt to say, no. What happens in the supply chain also affects you.
But at the end of the day, Wicker believes it shouldn't be up to the consumers to do the research and seek out non-toxic clothing options.
We're not chemists. We have a lot of different things that we're thinking about. You should be able to go to the store and be confident that what you're buying is not going to be carcinogenic or reproductive toxic.
However, until there are stricter regulations, it is up to us to know what we're putting on our bodies. In general, Wicker stays away from performance clothing that promises to be anti-wrinkle, antifungal, or stain-proof.
I try to buy natural materials whenever possible. So even my workout gear is mostly cotton, like 95% plus cotton. I avoid neon or super saturated bright colors. I only shop from brands that I trust. So I avoid ultra fast fashion brands. I avoid knockoffs. I avoid shopping from brands that I've never heard of before who have gibberish names. So I try to support brands that I think I know are doing better.
Wicker founded an online international guide on sustainable and ethical fashion called EcoHub to help consumers. She hopes this information will one day be standard practice in the fashion industry.
We need actual ingredient lists on our clothing that shows us everything. We need to have the information and the transparency. We need more protection.
Wicker's book, To Die For, is available now wherever books are sold. You can find more information about Alden Wicker and all of our guests on our website, radiohealthjournal.org. For more behind the scenes, visit Radio Health Journal on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Our writer-producer is Kristen Farah. Our production manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Nancy Benson.
Whole Foods Market has the satisfying lunch you're looking for. Level up lunchboxes with Wallet Happy 365 by Whole Foods Market snacks, like organic vanilla animal cookies, organic string cheese, and more. Hey, you have to eat too. Hit the prepared foods department and try the spicy red pepper salmon, or treat yourself to pizza from the hot bar. Either way, remember to bring home a rosemary lemon chicken family meal for an easy dinner that hits the spot. Shake things up at Whole Foods Market.
This episode is brought to you by Certified Piedmontese Beef. Listen up, foodies. Make your next meal even better with real Nebraska beef. They have healthy, tender, delicious Italian heritage beef, grass-fed and sustainably raised on lush pastures in the Midwest. You can even create your own personally curated meat box that's shipped right to your door. To get 2 free steaks with any purchase over $50, use the code FREEBEEF at checkout. Learn more and shop exclusively at cpbeef.com.
Coming up next week on Radio Health Journal.
People still oftentimes separate mental health from physical health. And in reality, it's really all coming from the body.
the hidden symptoms and stigmas that come from traumatic brain injury.
Then why should you care about the evolution of humanity?
Often people are being put into situations where one person in a given environment, based on their ancestry, may respond very differently than another person.
All that and more on Radio Health Journal. I'm Elizabeth Westfield, host of Radio Health Journal. If you enjoy listening to Radio Health Journal, you'll also like our sister show, Viewpoints, which covers a wide array of topics from education to history to the environment. Here's a preview of what they're covering this week on Viewpoints.
If you're going to just create a lawn 100 feet away from your home, you're basically making a bowling alley for embers.
Wildfires are becoming more common in areas never seen before. Are you prepared? Then
it's very hard for humans to directly observe the world and see what's really there, rather than what they hope is there or what their opinions are about what's there.
Having trouble paying attention? One expert recommends trying this exercise. I'm Marty Peterson.
And I'm Gary Price. These stories in depth this week on your public affairs magazine, Viewpoints.
Listen to Viewpoints on your favorite radio station, iTunes, and Stitcher.
And that's Radio Health Journal for this week. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to learn more. And check Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Spotify for a library of past programs. Plus, you'll always find previous segments and information about our guests at radiohealthjournal.org. Join us again next week for another edition of Radio Health Journal.
For America's climate goals, investing in clean energy adds up. But what doesn't add up is an additionality requirement for clean hydrogen. Additionality would put an unnecessary and inequitable burden on domestic clean hydrogen producers and have serious consequences for America. America needs clean hydrogen, but an additionality requirement just doesn't add up. Get the facts at cleanhydrogentoday.org. Paid for by the Fuel Cell and Hydrogen Energy Association.